dumb phone or a smartphone, and I asked what's the difference. A dumb phone, you just sat there flicking constantly, and a smartphone, it's creating your work for you, it's keeping you busy. I'd learned on one course, if you put a wild dog in a cage and you don't give him no treats, no nothing, and you take him out after a year, that wild dog is still the wild dog.
On the Engaging Marketeer today, I am joined by Robbie Dutton of RDS Fitness, WCFC.
That is correct.
Which is not a football club.
No.
Not a football club. So do you want to explain what that actually means, what that's about?
Okay, so the fitness is two parts to it. The first part, the RDS Fitness, is one-off classes or one-to-one training. If you just want to come and try some fitness out, you're not 100% sure it's for you, you can dabble in and out and just pay for one class or one fitness session and see how it works for you. Where the WCFC, the Wildcats Fitness Challenge, is more of a program, and I've based this around people who struggle with confidence to go into fitness classes, because if you've got around 40 people, 50 people and one gym instructor, you can't utilize everybody's ability in one go. So what I've done, I've broke down the whole session to build up people's confidence so they can be more skilled and confident to go into any fitness class.
Yeah, going into a fitness class, it's not as much worrying about the instructor not being able to cope with all the people. It's you being able to cope with all the people. Typically, I find you don't want to walk into a room full of people who are often a lot fitter than you are.
Yeah. Well,
and embarrass yourself in front of those people. That's the feeling I've had over the years. Is that?
No, that's very true, Darren. What I found out is a lot of people are going to the gym sessions or the fitness classes, and they're going once or twice, and the gym instructor's obviously totally fit, he's six-packed up or she's six-packed up, and then they just feel a bit intimidated, overwhelmed, and they never go back. So it is a frightening thing to be going into the gym. Even myself, who's quite athletic, it's been around the gym for quite a number of years now, I feel intimidated going into certain gyms.
Do you?
Yeah. So what I've done is I've took this Wildcats Fitness Challenge, I've made it more as a family pack, meaning that we're all supporting each other. You can go on WhatsApp group, and there's a chat room there where you can just get confidence, speak to people who have come from lack of confidence, lack of motivation, just sat on a couch for years eating chocolate, watching Netflix, not wanting to go through the door to get into the gym. So I'm taking them from there and building up the confidence. I'm giving them the skills. It's not a continuation where they're more than welcome to stay for as long as they need or would like to, but I'm giving them the skills to walk into that gym with more ease, more confidence, and be able to keep up with the gym instructor.
And what sort of people are you finding are coming to you?
Just people that have struggled through COVID, people that have, again, sat on the couch, never done nothing productive or physical, and I'm just finding by taking them away from that area and talking to a more of a friendly voice, it's not more military or boot camp style where I'm screaming. I'm breaking all the exercises down for them and simplifying them as much as I can until they can get the confidence to build to the main exercise or the main event.
Yeah, because a lot of instructors like that, you mentioned military and boot camp, they'll have an element of that in it. So it's definitely not that sort of thing.
No, it starts off easy. So the 6-week process, I have 12 levels. And the reason why it's called the Wildcats, on the levels, it will go through 12 different types of cats, from the kitten being your level 1 to a
okay. I wasn't sure about the Wildcats thing, whether that was like a military term perhaps, or an American sporting term, but you mean actual cats?
Yeah, so I have levels, and on the levels there's 12 different cats, from a kitten to a house cat, and it goes all the way around to tiger to lion to a liger to a tiger, which is a hybrid. So if you're a tiger, you probably wouldn't be coming to my class because you'd be running marathons, you'd be doing Spartan training, Tough Mudders, you'd be at the elite. But again, we'll train you through there. We try and put specific programs. If you'd said to me, right, I want to run a marathon in 2 years or a year, and I've never run before, then we'll break it down. We'll put a package in just for you for that specific training.
Okay. And what prompted you to do this in the first place?
Okay, so when I was younger, I had lack of confidence. I went totally down the wrong path. My associates, I used to call friends with my associates, and I just went down a dark path within my life. I'd ended up going to a place, which will probably explain more, but I went to a dark place and I ended up using fitness as an escape, as to try and build my confidence, and I found that it worked. So I went from 9 stone wet through to 13.2 stone of heavy muscle, and I thought, wow, this is really good. It's clearing my mind, it's helping me progress from day to day, and I feel like I'm achieving something. So I seen that fitness is good for the mind and it's good for the body. As I went later on through life, I didn't have the mindset of things. I was just at all the physical, so I was getting that quick instant gratification, so to speak, of the quick fix, the quick hit. But as I'd got older and a little bit wiser, I understood that I needed the mindset to go with it. So I'd slipped away from fitness and started concentrating on personal development and mindset. And I was excelling in that, and I was doing really, really well. But then I was losing my strength, my fitness, and then that started to have an impact. And then a couple of years later, I thought, I'm missing something here. So I combined the two of them together. So that's when I've come up with mindset, confidence building, and fitness, and putting them together. And that's due now, I find, works a whole lot better again, because you can put people in the gym and say, right, lift lots of weights, let's go to the fit, and it's just a short hit of instant gratification where you'll set off the endorphins, you'll feel really, really good, and then 20 minutes later or an hour later, then it starts to slope back down. And if you've not got your mindset where you need to be, then obviously you slip into back to your old ways, in a sense.
Because I've had a lot of fitness freaks, and I was myself once, a long time ago, very long time ago, in my early 20s. Actually went to the gym twice a day at one point, which is nuts. See it as a bit of a drug.
Yeah, that's it.
You mentioned endorphins. The feeling you get after you have worked out and got a bit of a pump on is something that you crave and you want again and again, and it's something that it's very difficult to move away from it. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, when I was back in the day, I was obsessed like yourself. I was training 3 to 4 times a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once in the evening, once in the night time.
Wow.
And I was just obsessed with just training, see how fit I could get, see what I could lift. I could lift nothing on a bench press, and then from the 2.5 years, I was pushing up over 100 key with quite ease, and I was just obsessed with it again, but I wasn't concentrating on my mindset. So as the years went on, that's where it fell apart. I didn't have the skills to come back into society, so to speak, and to continue through society with the ability that I should have, because I was just putting all my eggs in one basket instead of spreading out my eggs and putting them to different skills. That's what led me to go back to where I went from.
You mentioned when you were
excuse me.
When you were talking about younger, you were very careful to use the word associates rather than friends.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Okay, so when I was younger, I was raised in a pub down in Wales called the T3 Inn, where my mum and dad was very busy, and he used to work all the hours God sends. So it was back in the day, Darren, where they used to close at 3 o'clock and reopen at 6, which doesn't happen these days. It's just 24/7 pubs, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I'd be totally lost these days. But because they were working as many hours as they could, and then they'd sleep in between the hours they could, and they'd have lock-ins in the pub till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. At a very young age, I was left to my own devices. Me and my brother, so we ended up getting into a little bit of bother that went into some more bother, and the behaviour pattern just escalated, which ended me at the age of 20 going into custody. So I went and spent my first days in custody at the age of 20, which was a wake-up call, and that's when I first had my first taster of the gym, but I wasn't fully committed there. I was just trying to get through my sentence and just get out as quick as possible.
What sort of bother had you done?
I was getting, with the associates, I was getting into drug crime. I was trying to sell drugs. I was getting into trying to look after my associates as fighting. I was trying to just stuff when you start as of young, and then it just escalates. So you can start from shoplifting, and then you can move on to other crimes, which they do make me upset when I look back a bit now, because they are shameful. But again, at such a young age and with no guidance, parents guiding you, it's easy to go and try and find sanctuary in your associates, and you're looking for them for guidance.
So they almost became like a family for you?
Yeah, a bit of a family, I guess. And with their parents that were drug users, were alcoholics, and they were left to their own devices, we'd all made, again, like you say, a family, and we had to learn each other, try and feed each other and support each other. And it's no excuse, but would go and then you'd shoplift to try and get some money for some food, and then escalate from taking cars and so on and so on. And the crime just built up. And then again, as I was saying, my first crime my first stint in custody at the age of 20 was an eye-opener, and I thought, right, this is definitely not for me. I don't want to spend my life doing this. So I've come out and tried looking for work, did get work, started employment, things were going well, started looking at rehabilitation, how I can help others not to go down the path that I had gone. So that was my first taste of helping people in the right manner, not trying to help people by sharing substances, by helping them in situations as fighting, that I could actually help him and try and help him not go down the path that I was going down. But as the years went, 2 years to be precise, when I ended up losing my father, and he was like the support network for the family. So he was the person that brought our sisters together, brought off just the whole family together at Christmas or at any time. And once he'd gone, then all the family support or the network had fell apart. So it was like me and my mum were just isolated from there, and it was just a big dark cloud in a dark time. And then from there, I just went back to use what I knew best at that time, was to use substances, start drinking, hanging around with the same friends, and looking for that support all in the wrong areas. And
so you just went back into it again?
Yeah, back into it, back to a chaotic lifestyle, which then led me to trying to help a friend again, and getting into a fight, which escalated, and that cost me 4 years, or 2 year, 8 months, but a 4 year sentence. And that's when I found the gym, and that's when I thought, right, I went in 9 stone wet through, got into the gym and just started doing my qualifications for the gym, started bettering myself and getting as many skills as I could. But that was just channeling it down the fitness route. I wasn't doing the education as reading, I wasn't doing personal development, I was just gym all the way. And that's when I was released at 13 stone of muscle, really. And I thought I'd cracked it. I thought, look at me, I'm ready to take the world. This is me, set for life. But no, there was a lot more that I had to do and learn along the journey. So from there, do you want me to continue? Yeah?
No. I mean, you mentioned how I mean, you were kids at the time, weren't you?
Yeah.
The ones that you were with, you classed as your family and got you into some bad shit.
Yeah.
That their parents were drug users.
Yeah, drug users.
So you could see how they probably went down a similar path because it was normal for them.
Yeah.
How easy was it for you to be dragged into that? Because obviously your parents were hardworking, running a business.
Yeah. Well, by that time they'd retired, so my dad had me quite late. He had me at 50, so we'd done all the pub, and we'd moved from Bodwithin in Wales to Sunnyrill, if you've heard of that, obviously.
I've heard of Sunnyrill.
Yeah, not so sunny.
No, not the sunny parts, no, the real parts.
Yeah. So we'd moved there, and the reason why we'd moved there is because my dad had took a holiday back in the 60s when he was a bit younger, so he's just had lights and good times. I thought this would be a real good place to take him. I remember when I was younger. And then obviously a bit like Blackpool, which I found out recently, you've got all the promenade that looks really nice, and then you go to the street behind it, and it's
very different.
Very different. Yeah. So again, they were just trying to live their retirement, enjoy their life, and again I was left to my own devices with my brother, and we just again started mixing. He went his way, I went my way. We just didn't see each other as much, and we were a bit like chalk and cheese at this time, as we'd found out. And I just mixed with those kind of people, and he'd went off on his path. So it was quite easy in a sense, because there was not much discipline in a sense. There was not much guidance. So I was left to my own device. I was able to leave the house if I was up in time, easy at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and come back at 1, 2 in the morning, get a quick telling off if that, and get to bed, and then repeat it.
I was going to ask that. I mean, what was your parents' reaction to this? Because obviously they weren't the drug users like the families of the people you were with. So how did they react to you mixing with these people, getting a custodial sentence when you were younger, and then obviously doing something worse and it happening again?
Yeah, there was shame. It was a bit of the black sheep moment. My dad at the time, when I was getting involved, would talk to one of his oldest sons, would talk to his oldest daughter, and then it was discussed to try and move me away out of Rill. So they'd come up with a plan to get me from Rill to Birmingham. So they'd move me from there, which...
that explains the slight twang in your accent.
Yeah, probably. I've got a lot of twang.
I was wondering what that was. It's Birmingham, isn't it?
Yeah. So my dad's originally from Aston. So,
right.
So I've got that. I think Mum's originally from Manchester, so I've got that. And then I've obviously got the twang of being shipped all around the country, in a sense. But yeah, they weren't happy. They moved me to Birmingham to try and find some structure, so they had me a job there working in the kitchens, and then my brother was obviously more fitter to look after me, because at this time I think my dad was around 65, so he's at an age where he doesn't really want a teenager running around and causing bother and bringing people, or police should I say, to the house. So in some senses I look back, and now being more mature, I can understand at the time I was a bit disappointed. But it did give me that little stepping stone to work life and how to earn some legit money the proper way. So I've always been like a book in the wind, I suppose. The pages are constantly flipping back and forth. I can work a good job, and then I can easily flip back into mixing with old associates. And that's what happened. I'd stayed into Birmingham for 18 months. I had a disagreement, to put it mildly, with my brother's son, and so I'd come back to Rill, and again page flicking straight back into the old ways. I did get a job, because I promised I'd get a job in Little Chef on the A55. I don't think they do Little Chefs anymore. But I did start there, and again just slowly mixed back into old associates. Which again built up. And to cut a long story short, in 2007, everything had escalated. This is when I've lost my dad. I've done my custody. I've come out. I've mixed with the wrong people, and ended up getting into some serious trouble, and ended up getting an IPP sentence.
What's that?
So an IPP sentence is a sentence that David Blunkett brought out in 2005. Technically, would like to say, on air or off air, to win votes from the public of tougher crime, tougher sentences. And after 7 years, it was found to be an inhumane sentence, and they abolished it. The European court abolished it, and IPP stands for imprisonment for public protection. So it's technically a life sentence, but with a tariff. So my tariff was under 2 years. But let's just say 2 years, and from that, in total, I've served 11 years, and I've been going through the system in and out for 15 years, 16 years.
Wow.
Something like
that. Wow. How do you feel when you look back on that time?
Really, really sad. I believed for what I had done, I deserved a sentence. There was no way. I was going out of control. I was mixing with the wrong people. I was taking substances like they were going out of fashion. I just had no purpose. I had no direction. I was at a point in my life where I wouldn't have been too fussed if I was here or not here. So in some ways, I could say that prison had saved me by my life, because if it would have continued, I think I would have either took too many drugs and overdosed, or I would have just took my own life. So looking at the negative into a positive, I think it saved my life. As for the sentence, I think it's just diabolical, to say the truth. That, in a sense, I'm one of the lucky ones that's managed to get through it, and being in and out of custody for the number of times on a recall, which means that they can recall you back to custody for the most minor of things. I've spent more time in custody on recalls for non-offences, so behavioural concerns, or, well, that's how they write it down. I think it's a behavioural concern.
So no matter what it is, they can just put it down as that.
As a behavioural. It's like it's a doorway that covers everything. If we have concerns, and we can use this. Number one, we're concerned of his behaviour. For whatever reason, they can say. So out of the 4 recalls had been done for behavioural concerns, and then 1 I'd ended up going back with, again, my own fault, for the common assault, which carried a 6-week sentence, which should have been 3 weeks, and off those 3 weeks ended up doing 3.5 years inside for this, and this is all due to being an IPP prisoner. So I do work alongside, hopefully not going off subject, I do work alongside a company called Inspiring Your Future and Ungrip, an Ungrip campaign for people that are being carriage of misjustice, basically. So the people that are still inside now, who have been sentenced to an IPP, have done 15 to 16, 17, if not 18 years, still in custody, and these can be sentences from 12 months to 2-year sentences, technically, by tariff, and they're still in 18 years later. So they're campaigning for different different rulings, different turnarounds, legislations. I think that's the right word.
Yeah.
It does get me a bit upset, so if I start going, I am sorry, Darren. Just to have it changed. But now we have David Blunkett on side, who was the original person who brought it in, and he's a campaigner too, and he's part of the Lords, and he's literally, in the last week, saying that things need to be changed. There's a bill going through the Houses of Commons now to change the licences, to give people the opportunity to be released, to have support networks there, and to change the licence conditions, because you have to serve a minimum of 10 years on licence before you can even have it looked at to be revoked or to be finalised.
So he's kind of admitted that it was a mistake.
Yeah, he has, and that's everywhere. If you Google that, internet that, you'll hear it from his own mouth that he's made it's a stain on society, and he's made a big mistake. So, but we're all still going through the aftermath of that one mistake. And every time he speaks in Parliament, or every time he speaks to people like myself or other people in the same situation, his first words, he apologises, and he totally puts his hands up that he's made this mistake, that he's got it wrong, and he wants change. He wants to amend the situation that he's done, which, hats off to him for standing up and admitting to that. It does take a brave man, because there's not a lot of many MPs or people in Parliament that would admit that they've got something wrong, and he is, so I have to give credit there. But on the same hand, we are still struggling, and let's just hope that something can be done. Again, I'm not sitting here, Darren, saying poor me. I have done wrong things. I have committed crimes that I really did deserve to go to prison for. But to be sat here 15, 16 years later and still going through the same trauma and the same aftermath of what should have been dealt with in 2009, 2011, it should have been squashed, and we're now in 2023. And it's still going on to this day. And again, as I was saying, I'm one of the lucky ones, because one of the ladies from Ungrip, she started that because she'd lost her brother. He wasn't able to get through the sentence, and ended up through that sentence. Her brother started suffering from mental health problems and ended up taking his own life. I don't want to say too much of that, because it's not my story to tell. Yeah. But her name is Donna Mooney, and she's just put a really good piece out about that, and it's very upsetting. And I think from what I was listening to her piece the other day on the radio, I think the total has been out 84 people have took their own lives through it, and there's still 3,000 and odd numbers still left in the system where they've not been able to be released, because you have to fit a certain criteria, you have to sit on a parole board, you have to make sure that you fit the standards of that you won't reoffend, that you are safe to be released, and that hence why they're still in there, because the parole board think that they are not suitable for release. But some of these people are in there for pinching a bike, some of them are pinching a phone, some of them are really minor crimes in the sense of what other people are going in for, being sentenced to 8 years, 9 years, doing a sentence and they're released. So that's where their mental health is deteriorating, because they're seeing other people coming in that have done a lot worse crime, doing the time and then getting out, and they're still left in that,
because of this system.
Yeah, in that murky bowl of soup, or that muddy water, because of what David Blunkett's brought out. And now he totally admits he's got it wrong. The human court abolished it in 2012, December, and they just had the 10-year anniversary last year for it, but still there's been no progression since they have abolished that sentence, so they don't give the sentence out no more. But yeah, again, as I keep repeating, we're all still left in this system.
Wow, no, I was not expecting that at all. Is it still affecting you? Are you still under this system now, or are you clear of it now?
It's affecting me still. I was able to apply for my license to come off in 2021. Again, we're living in a broken system, Darren, where automatically my license should have been looked at, reviewed, and if not, squashed or discussed. That was in 2021. I've literally just had it looked at probably 6 weeks ago, if that. So it's took 2 years to look at it, and it's meant to be an automatic process. So because they've took their time slow boating it, that I've just had the knockback to say we're not ready to take you off the license, where technically if they would have looked at it in 2021, I could have had that knockback. I could have waited 12 months, sat another parole board, or put my papers forward for the license, had another knockback, and now in 2023, I could have been well on the way of getting the license terminated. But unfortunately, because of the system and the slow process of things, and people not knowing the left arm to the right arm, to put it mildly, again, I'm still going through this system, yeah.
Wow. Can you see a time when it's actually going to be over?
For myself, I do try and use affirmations quite a lot and positive thinking, and in my head I'm trying to think 2024 is going to be the year for me, for this license to be finished. It's going to be my second hit at the license. There are some changes coming now from David Blunkett and the other MPs, where they're putting some rulings in that they can not upset the public, and then also try and deal with this catastrophic event that has happened, where they're looking at bringing a licence down from 10 years to 5 years, and then you sit a board, or you put your paperwork in for the board. If you get a knockback, then you'll sit another one, and if you get a knockback on your second one, I think it's the second or the third one, it'll just automatically be squashed. Again, because when we're looking at the public and the taxpayer, if people like numbers and sums, to keep me in custody for the year would be £50,000 for the taxpayer to pay. Now I've done, let's just say, on recalls, 10 years on recalls, so that's £500,000 to keep me in, when that £500,000 could have been given to something a lot more. It could have said, right, I'm going to take £50,000, we're going to make sure this young man or person at the time is going to get himself some education, he's going to be able to have a good support network, he's going to have employment, he's going to have housing, he's going to have these 4 elements that would keep the public safe, that would keep him on the right track. And I know people might think, well, that's a bit unfair. If you've committed crime, why should we put this £50,000 into you? Because if those 4 elements work, which statistics say, if you've got these 4 elements in place, then the high chances of rehabilitation are more profound and more effective. So with that £50,000 spent, now you have £450,000 to the side where you could be put into old people's homes, looking after the aged, looking after younger people, looking after giving parents skills to help their children to make sure they don't go down the path. So you've saved that kind of money. And if you spent £50,000 on someone who does have high needs of needing support through whatever addiction they've got, if you take the addiction of a heroin user, they may have a habit of £300,000 a year habit. So to get that, obviously they've got to cause a lot of victims, a lot of destruction. So again, the maths to put rehabilitation in place to give that person support equals it's the sum to simple maths basically, and then plus it stops the victims in the long run being created. So it is a bit of a yo-yo, it's a bit of a murky water where people think lock them up, throw away the key, but that's not the answer. They are technically in a sense just locking people up now and doing nothing with them. But as I learned going through my process, and I think it was just a lot of what do you call them, doctors or professors saying stuff, but I'd learned on one course, if you put a wild dog in a cage and you don't give him no treats, no nothing, and you take him out after a year, that wild dog is still the wild dog. If you put the wild dog in a cage and you train that wild dog and you give him all the skills he needs to adapt, then the dog comes out better. It's a bit like is it Fingy's dog, the Plato's dog, or I can't remember the name of the dog.
Plato?
No, is it not Plato? One of the what's his name? Some it's not Sigmund Freud, it's one of those guys. Anyway, he takes a dog and he puts the electric fence in between him. He stuns the electric fence, he jumps over the electric fence, he stays there for a bit, and then he stuns the floor again. It's been an actual test, and the dog just keeps jumping. In the end, they stun the dog that many times, he just stops him, he just gets electrocuted, so he falls into depression. And that's technically what will happen if you keep putting people in and out and you're not giving them the skills and you're not putting all the things in place, then that's where depression kicks in. And on an IPP sentence, that's what's happening. People are hitting the courses, or they're not being given the courses when other people are, and they're just slowly falling more into depression, more into just no motivation, no inspiration, no purpose. And again, purpose is a big thing to success. If you haven't got purpose in life, then you haven't really got much going for you. So to have a purpose is a key element to survival, be it for society or be it for an inmate. You need to have a purpose, you need to have direction, which again, through self-education, now I've managed to learn all these, where it's had to take me to step up and say, right, I'm not going to be getting everything out of this system that I need, so it's going to take me to go and find the secret elements of what's going to make things better. And that's the fitness, that's the personal development, that's the reading the books, that's constant purpose to try and better myself every day. And again, I'm one of the lucky ones that's took that leap forward, that's pushed myself and got that drive to go forward, where a lot of them are Pablo's dog. Pablo's dog, where he's jumped over and he's just had enough. The system's beat him. They're just sitting in the cells, literally, or sitting in some hospital wing or unit now, and they're just lost souls, because
they feel it doesn't matter what they do,
doesn't matter what
they're going to end up exactly where they are again.
Yeah. And again, now all this has happened for, let's say, 18 years. How can you take that person now that is being basically beaten in modern day torture, psychologically beaten, to be putting them back in society with no support? And again, it's all cost this. And each time Parliament wants to run for votes, the first things to do is, we're going to build schools, we're going to go tougher on crime. And it's all the same songs they're singing. And funny enough, I was speaking to an auntie only the other day, and we vote every 4 years for these Parliament to go in there, but once we vote and have scooped our vote up, we never have another say of how stuff is to be ran, and we just take their word for it and their trust and everything they've promised us that they're going to do, but they don't deliver.
No.
And yet we still vote for them and we still give our trust to them. So That's a whole different topic, I think. But yes, it's
a great point, because nobody cares about convicts.
No.
Nobody cares. It's like landlords. Nobody cares about landlords, so they'll tax the landlords as much as they can, because landlords are all rich fat cats that wear bowler hats and light cigars with £20 notes.
Exactly.
They'll do what people, or they'll say they'll do what people, the masses, want to vote for.
Yeah.
As you say, schools, hospitals, education. Because that was Tony Blair's thing, wasn't it? Education, education, education.
Yeah.
Everybody's still thick as pig shit.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, but that's what people vote for.
Exactly. And it'll just keep going. And now the sentences are going more and more and more, higher and higher and higher. And there's only so much you can... I think they'll be going to the American styles, won't they? Where they're saying, right, we're going to sentence him. We've just given him 672 years. Go, yes, what a sentence. And go, if he lives that long, he deserves to be let out. So technically my sentence, as they class it, was a 99-year sentence. So they go, it's an IPP, 99 years, an indefinite sentence. So they can just keep you in there for the rest of your life. And again, there's cases out there, Darren, if people want to look it up, one from Newcastle, where it, again, mix it's a lot same stories, mixing with the wrong crowd, mixing with this, etc., because you are your environment. Whoever you show me your friends, I'll show you the future, I think they say. And he's ended up pinching a bike, thinking it's, for whatever reason, I don't know this person, but the story I've heard, and it is in the papers, he's ended up pinching a bike. Obviously, wrong thing to do, deserves to be punished, but this person's been sat in for 16, 17 years now for pinching a bike. And I and I say to the people, if this was your son, or if this was your daughter that was in there, if this was one of the MP's daughters or one of the MP's sons or brothers, then something would be getting done, because this is the brinks of society, or these are people, and let's just say they remind people that they are people, that they have come from maybe not the best parenting, maybe not the best surroundings, they have come from poverty, or they have come from abusive relationships, abusive parents. These are all factors that create the beast, in a sense. They're all factors that have had it help towards this person going down the wrong path, where they may have not been able to ask for support. They may not know where to go for support, and so again they go to the best place where they can, and it's other people on the streets that have again been left to their own devices. It's a sad world, and in 2023 we'd have thought we'd had a better grip on it, really, especially in this country.
It's quite depressing, really.
It is sad. That's why I said, and how I've not broke tears, I'm just, because I could see this.
You're holding it. You're holding it in.
I am, I do talks as well. As I said, I work with the fitness part of things, and I deal with mental health on that side of things. I put the fitness side of things, but I do work alongside a company called Inspiring Your Future. So I will mention them, and that's a great organisation.
What do they do?
So they work with the kids that are going on the blink of going to custody, or they're struggling at school, or they're just not getting the picture of what school's about, meaning education. Who needs education? What a waste of time. As I was thinking at that time, who needs not what you know, it's who you know, which in some sense that can be a good thing, but without your skills, without your purpose, without the knowledge behind you, it doesn't matter who you know, because if you can't deliver something because you haven't got these skills and purpose and knowledge behind you, who's going to really want to take you on? Not no one really, or not many people. And if they do take you on, it will be for their own gains. So we go in and talk to those. We go in and put them a package together to help them not go down the same route. And again, Ungrip are campaigning, so if people can look those up and support those, and that is to get totally abolished, or laws changed around these IPP, and support. And since I have come home, and social media is the biggest thing out there, and everyone, you can't even look at people in the eyes now, because they're just heads down and everything's facing phones. When you do, there's a saying in custody, Darren, where people shout through the windows. There's a lot of noise. If you'd ever go, it's one experience. I'm not saying to go in there, but if you'd ever got a chance for the day trip, in a sense, because you can get day trip, the noise, the smell, it's just like something you've never heard before. and they have these things called warriors, window warriors, where people shout out the windows to another one, either to bully him or to make themselves feel better or just for whatever reason. But outside, they've got what they call keyboard warriors, which I found out. So if something happens, then they start trolling and bullying, etc. So there's not much difference from there to there, and the people of behaviour. And I have noticed on some newspaper cuttings, if somebody's done a certain crime or they've committed an offence, or everyone's got an opinion on opinions, basically, and you'll see all the comments underneath of what they should be doing and this, that and the other. And then these may be the people that have good jobs, have had quite a good life, just sat there watching the TV for 8 hours and think, oh, I'm a bit bored of that, I know what I'll do, I'll just drive this negativity into this social media package to send out to the world. And from my experience in my life, negativity just breeds negativity. By putting someone down or not being that person that can support them is not going to be the answer that society needs. It's ask the question, why has this person done this? Why has this happened? What can be put in place? What can I do to, meaning as the people, what can we do to stop this happening? And one great event that I did see, what would have took society in two different directions, was when the riots happened in 2011, if I'm correct, and it just went chaotic, and there was a big cloud over Britain on that day, but within a blink of an eye, the clouds had cleared, the sun had shone, and people had come out to help clear up the mess. And it's shown that there is good people out there and there is support out there, and by stepping up to the plate, it shows we don't have to stay in a negative bubble, we don't have to hang around with our associates. It's about trying to find the good people, the people that sweep up the mess, the people that are willing to put their spare time into helping others, and so on and so on and so on. Because when you're in that kind of world that I was in, everything is dark, everything is black, and society does look like one big stain where there is not much hope out there. There's not many good people out there. But when you see demonstrations of support and care and stuff like that, there is hope out there. There is good people, and they just need to start supporting each other. And again, it only takes one bad apple to rot the apple. So let's take that bad apple, clean it up, and support it.
It's interesting, the analogy you made there between the social media keyboard warriors and what you called the window warriors, because they're obviously protected. No one can get at them.
Yeah.
They can't get out, so they can be as hostile as they like.
Yeah.
Same with the keyboard warriors. They're behind a screen or a phone screen.
Yeah.
They can be as hostile as they like because nobody's going to actually find them, or so they think anyway. Yeah. But social media platforms really have a duty to do something about that. But adversely, Twitter, or X as it's called now, is deliberately making it worse. I don't know if you're aware, they switched it from when you were looking at Twitter, it was what you followed. It's now what's going to get a reaction out of you. So if you're on Twitter and you log in, you don't see people you follow by default. You see things that the algorithm knows you're going to react to. And it's not things you like. It's things that are going to annoy you, things that you are going to disagree with. So if you're left-wing, it'll show you right-wing stuff. If you're right-wing, it'll show you left-wing stuff. Okay. Because it's deliberately trying to get a reaction out of you, because that's what breeds the content. What gets more people using it, gets more ad views, makes it more money. It's deliberately pissing people off to get that kind of reaction. And it's horrific that it's doing that.
Yeah. It's like they say, bad news sells, don't they?
Bad news absolutely sells.
And I just think I don't watch the news. I've told my friends and the people I associate myself with now, why watch the news? And through the books I've read and through the stuff that I watch, a lot of stuff on YouTube, and it's all self-improvement, and it's daily. In the car, I try and use my car as a university on wheels, and just constantly, because I think we spend 1,000 hours a year or in whatever amount of time in your car driving, so why not put stuff on that's going to better you?
So it's all podcasts and educational stuff.
Yeah, anything that's educational, it's going in the ear, And what was I going to say then? yeah, so to put the news on and to listen to all that negativity is just never going to set your day up. So if there's anything coming through my feed on Twitter, Facebook, anything, I just go the other way as much as I kind of don't get involved in that. And one, because I don't know how to handle if people were throwing loads of stuff towards me. Quite fragile like that. I'd be like, oh my God, what is this? I think I'm sure it has happened once. And my partner at the time did say about, because I'd been in for that many amount of years, Facebook had come out whilst I was in custody. So all this was new. I didn't know how to use YouTube probably 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't even know how to use that. Nice. And now I'm just literally addicted to it, like, wow. And then smartphones had come out, so when I was speaking to my partner, I'd be in one area, she'd be on the other, and I could just see her face, and it just blew my mind. And it was just being like born again, or born into a new world. But yeah, definitely social media. It's has two elements, doesn't it? It can be the greatest thing in the world, or it can be absolutely destructive. And unfortunately, we've got kids there that spend hours upon hours upon hours there. I think they even eat the dinner now. They don't use knife and forks. They flick the dinner in, don't they? like, what are you doing? What is this? So, or like Humans, aren't they? That program, Humans, where they have blue eyes.
Yeah.
It's just, it is a sad world. But again, from learning and doing courses, and I try and say to my kids, what is your phone you're holding? Is it a dumb phone or a smartphone? And I ask, what's the difference? A dumb phone, you just sat there flicking constantly, and a smartphone, it's creating your work for you, it's keeping you busy in a positive way. So,
well, let's finish on positives.
Yes,
let's
please.
Finish on positives.
Yes, please.
What made you then want to start the fitness business that you're doing now? What made you want to help people?
Okay, so through my past experiences, I brought fitness into it because, again, I was seeing people not getting the best out of life, be that through the gym, be that through their mental state of mind. So going through all the trauma and all the mishaps, to put it mildly, that I'd gone through, I just wanted to help people. Seeing, I wouldn't say I'm a religious kind of person, but I have looked into a lot of different religious things. I like my Buddhism, I like my Christianity. I'm intrigued of how far people will bend, in a sense, or break before they have this remarkable change. And sometimes it can just be one seed planted, or one voice, or one person. And I just wanted to be that person to say, yes, I've come from literally from the rags, or from the ruins, from the mental destruction, to this person, and there's hope out there. If I can do it, then you can do it. There's no difference between me and you. We're all people, we're all humans. But if you can bring the positivity into it, if you can bring purpose, if you can bring your goals into it, if we can help each other, let me help you and you help me, and let's just help each other. And I thrive off it. As my partner says now, she calls me, my name is Earl. I don't know if you've heard that.
I've watched that, yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. All you think my name is Earl? I just want to help everyone. If I can see someone struggling like a little old person, and I get to help them across the road, it's
because he changed his life around, didn't he? He was a bad person, changed his life around, doing good deeds wherever he can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's just what I love doing. And again, what I've learned, it can be a bit selfish in a sense, because through every good deed you do, you get that satisfaction from it. So again, you feeding the endorphins, or you're feeding that feel-good factor. And I just like helping people. Again, I think I've always helped people, but in previous times I've helped them negatively. So I've gone into fights to try and help them. By this time, I'm fighting them to get away from that. I'm fighting them in the good way to change the life around in a positive way. And no other better way than personal development and fitness. And that's what I do. That's my skills. That's what I'm good at.
How does it feel when you can identify somebody that you can help, and you know that if they don't get your help, they could feasibly go down the same path that you went down?
It's good when I can help them. In a sense, I keep using the word help, and what I've learned through my development, Darren, is I'd like to say I can guide and support. So I'm using the word help there. I shouldn't really be using that because only they can help themselves. And that's what I've learned. I can give everyone the tools to say, right, if you use this hammer, it's going to be able to put that nail into that piece of wood. If you use these saw, it's going to be able to saw that wood to build this, etc., etc. I'll give you the tools, but only you can help yourself to hit that nail, to saw that piece of wood. And they've got to be able to, and that's as many people were giving me the tools. I wasn't using the tools that I'd been given, and then all of a sudden it was down to me to step up and say, I need to help myself in such a crisis. So what I'd like to, I love giving the tools to people, and I have to be patient and understand that they may not use those tools right on this very day, but further down the line they may do use those tools. So it just feels great, and I'm happy when they come. If they don't use them, sometimes, especially with our own kids and our own family, when we've got all this energy and all this zest for a new life, when you see them and they're not doing things, you can be, why aren't you doing this? It works. But you have to take a step back and be patient. It's took me a long time to get what I've done. It's took many trips and falls, many mistakes.
Yeah.
But it's the mistakes that create the best people, I think, if they learn.
If they learn.
If they learn.
If they learn. And what plans have you got for the future? Where do you see this business going, or your endeavours to help other people or guide other people,
Okay.
I should say?
So I've got a YouTube channel coming out, hopefully within the next 2 weeks. I'm setting that up as we speak. So I'm hoping I can put the platform through YouTube, because I see the benefits of YouTube, of utilising the car, you being able to be in a lot of places in a lot of times, and that's going to be to do with personal development, rehabilitation, and mindset. All those, let's call them buzzwords, as to say, but especially personal development, because you have to work on yourself. So I want to channel that out to a lot of people, because it's worked for me. So I want to pass that great gem along. Fitness, again, lots of stuff happening with the fitness. Got my one-to-one classes on the RDS Fitness side. If you just want to come and have a look, have a taster, just come for freebies. You can come and have a look. Say you've listened to Darren's amazing podcast, and if they mention your name, they can come have a little try. If you want to take it to the next level, you can come on to the 6-week Wildcats Fitness Challenge. That will be a program to take you from the basics and building you up to mastering the workouts, and to build everything up that you'll need. The videos will be coming out for this one again within the next couple of weeks, so you'll have all the packages. There is a book on sale for £17, Darren, that they can go onto my website. If they just type in RDS Fitness WCFC, that should hopefully come to the top of the page of Google. That's £17. It's on sale for £7 at the moment, but if you subscribe to the channel, you can even get it for free.
Wow.
Yes, free. I know.
Wow, that's,
gift that keeps giving.
That's a bargain.
That is a bargain, from 17 to 7 to free.
To free, to nothing, to now.
Nothing. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that's there, and that's a book just of all your dietaries, exercises in there, and it will just steady you along. But again, come along if you know people, send them my way, and we're always up for a taster.
All right. What we'll do is we'll put links to all of those below the podcast.
Okay.
So anyone who's watching this on YouTube, the links will be in the description below the video. Anyone who's listening to this on iTunes or Audible, the links for those will be in the description underneath the podcast as well. So you'll find all of those links for the YouTube channel, for the book, for the website. Everything will be there. So just scroll down. It'll be there for you.
Excellent. Thank you.
No, but thank you. Thank you for being on that. I really appreciate it. It was great to hear more about it, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you very much, Darren. Thank you.